The Los Angeles Rams are racing against time to prepare the team for the 2026 season. And there's one name that continues to rise in the analysis after the rookie minicamp: Ty Simpson. Yes, my friends, we need to talk about him. Look, if you've been closely following what Sean McVay and the organization have been building lately, you already know that the franchise is thinking beyond the present. I know many fans criticized the Rams' 13th overall pick of Ty Simpson in the draft. Many questioned Sean McVay and Les Snead's decision, but as time goes on, we're seeing that it was an excellent choice. The front office is looking to resolve some pending issues while also preparing for the future at the quarterback position. And after everything that happened at the rookie minicamp, it's becoming impossible to ignore the growing excitement surrounding Simpson within the team. Okay, let's analyze some important points about what's happening. But first, make sure to hit the like button on this video, but only do so if you believe Ty Simpson has an excellent future ahead of him. If possible, write something like, "Go Rams, let's go to the Super Bowl." Man, I personally believe in that a lot. The Rams have the ability to get there. Now here's the thing that immediately stood out during this rookie minicamp process. This was not a normal football minicamp where players were fully suited up and competing in intense on-field drills. The Rams approached this differently. The focus was primarily on conditioning, film study, meetings, learning the system, mental processing, and adapting to the NFL environment. And honestly, that may have been the perfect possible setup for Ty Simpson to immediately stand out inside the organization. According to reports coming directly from inside the Rams organization, the coaching staff wanted to evaluate Simpson's command of the operation, his ability to process information quickly, and his overall understanding of the game mentally. And if you know anything about Ty Simpson from his Alabama days, then this should not surprise you at all. This is exactly the type of environment where he thrives. What makes this situation fascinating is that the Rams are not looking at Simpson as some raw athlete who simply relies on physical tools. In fact, one of the biggest talking points coming out of minicamp was that Simpson's biggest strength is his football mind. Les Snead reportedly loves what he described as Simpson's central nervous system, basically his ability to mentally process the game at a high level and quickly adjust to complex situations. That's a massive compliment coming from a front office that has evaluated countless quarterbacks over the years. And when you start connecting all the dots, you begin to understand why Sean McVay and the Rams may truly believe they found something special here. This is not an organization that makes random quarterback decisions. They know exactly the kind of player they want in this system. Intelligence matters. Processing speed matters. Leadership matters. Obsession with football matters. And, by all accounts, Ty Simpson checks every single one of those boxes. One thing that really caught attention during these discussions was the reminder about Simpson's long football conversations with Sean McVay during the pre-draft process. There was reportedly a 4-hour football discussion between the two, and that tells you everything you need to know about what the Rams value at the quarterback position. Sean McVay doesn't spend that kind of time with just anybody. He wants quarterbacks who can think the game, dissect coverages, absorb information quickly, and become extensions of the coaching staff on the field. And Rams fans, this is where things become very exciting for the future, because Ty Simpson is entering literally the best possible developmental situation any young quarterback could ask for. Think about it. He gets to sit behind Matthew Stafford, one of the smartest and toughest quarterbacks of his generation. He gets to learn from Sean McVay, who many still consider the best offensive mind in football today. There is absolutely no pressure for Simpson to immediately carry the franchise. Instead, he gets the luxury of learning, studying, developing, and slowly adapting to NFL speed without being rushed into action. And honestly, that may end up being the perfect formula. One of the most interesting moments from rookie minicamp came when Ty Simpson addressed all the unnecessary drama surrounding Sean McVay's draft day press conference. Some people tried creating this narrative that McVay was somehow upset about the Rams selecting Simpson. But according to multiple reports, including comments discussed publicly afterward, that entire narrative was completely overblown and unrelated to the pick itself. Simpson himself handled the situation exactly the way you would want a young quarterback to handle it. Calm, professional, mature. When asked about it, he basically brushed aside the noise and focused entirely on how excited he is to work with McVay and Stafford. That response alone tells you a lot about his mentality. He didn't feed the drama. He didn't create headlines. He stayed focused on football. And honestly, Rams fans should love hearing that. Because one of the hardest things for young quarterbacks entering the NFL today is dealing with constant media pressure and distractions. Every quote becomes a headline. Every facial expression becomes a story. But Ty Simpson already looks incredibly composed handling those situations, and you can tell his Alabama experience prepared him for this kind of spotlight. At the same time, Simpson sounds genuinely thrilled about this opportunity. He openly talked about how he believes he landed in the ideal situation by learning behind Matthew Stafford while also playing for Sean McVay. And if we're being honest, there are probably very few organizations in football better equipped to develop a young quarterback than the Rams right now. Look at what McVay has done throughout his career with quarterbacks. Look at how this offense consistently adapts. Look at how much emphasis this staff places on preparation and understanding the game mentally. That environment could be absolutely huge for Simpson's long-term development. But rookie minicamp wasn't only about Ty Simpson. There were also important developments involving the Rams' undrafted free agents. And this is where things become very interesting for roster battles heading into the rest of the offseason. Unlike some NFL teams that aggressively cut undrafted players almost immediately after rookie minicamp, the Rams continue to approach the process differently. They give players opportunities to settle in, adapt to the NFL environment, and prove themselves over time rather than making snap decisions after one or two practices. That philosophy could create opportunities for several under-the-radar names trying to earn roster spots. And there are definitely positions where opportunities exist. The secondary remains one of the most fascinating areas to monitor because there are still depth concerns there. Several undrafted defensive backs reportedly have a legitimate chance to stick around if they impress during off-season activities and training camp. The Rams appear willing to let these young players compete, and that could create one of the most intense roster battles of the summer. The offensive line is another major storyline. We all remember how depth issues created serious problems for the Rams at times last season. Injuries forced players into difficult situations, and the organization clearly understands they need stronger depth moving forward. That's why some of these undrafted linemen could have a real shot at surprising people during camp. And here's what stands out most about how the Rams handle all of this. They prioritize intelligence, adaptability, and professionalism just as much as athletic ability. During this rookie minicamp setting, players couldn't simply rely on physical talent alone. They had to prove they could handle NFL-level meetings, playbooks, mental preparation, and coaching adjustments. That tells you exactly what kind of culture Sean McVay and Les Snead continue building inside this organization. So now the big question becomes this: could Ty Simpson actually become the future quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams one day after learning behind Matthew Stafford? And which undrafted rookie do you believe has the best chance to shock everybody and make this final roster? And Rams fans, reading through the reactions from supporters after minicamp, you can really feel how divided, but also hopeful, this fan base is becoming about Ty Simpson. One comment in particular perfectly captured the mindset of many longtime Rams fans right now. A fan said that after supporting this team for 40 years, he's obviously rooting for the kid because his success is tied directly to the success of the franchise. But he also pointed out something we continue hearing from former NFL quarterbacks. There is simply no substitute for real game experience, both in college and especially in the NFL. And honestly, that's a completely fair point. You can study film for hours. You can dominate meetings. You can impress coaches with intelligence and preparation, but eventually, the real test comes when the bullets start flying on Sundays. The speed of the NFL game is something no classroom can fully prepare a quarterback for. Defenses disguise coverages faster. Pass rushers close space instantly. Windows disappear in a fraction of a second. That adjustment destroys a lot of talented young quarterbacks every single year. But what makes Rams fans hopeful is exactly what that same supporter said afterward. Maybe Ty Simpson becomes the exception, because if there's one coaching staff capable of developing a quarterback patiently and correctly, it's this one. Fans are starting to realize again why trusting Sean McVay and Les Snead has usually paid off over the years. Another supporter mentioned how relieved they are that people are finally moving past all the conspiracy theories and unnecessary drama surrounding the pick. And honestly, they're right. Everything we're hearing about Ty Simpson, his intelligence, his professionalism, his obsession with football, lines up perfectly with the type of quarterback McVay has always valued. At the same time, some fans also want more than just mental evaluations and media sound bites. One supporter made a very interesting point, saying they'd like to hear more about the physical strengths of the Rams' draft picks and whether any of these rookies can actually contribute this season. And that's a valid question because while Ty Simpson is viewed as a long-term project, other young players may absolutely have opportunities to carve out immediate roles depending on injuries, depth battles, and special teams performance. And maybe the most emotional reaction came from fans frustrated that people continue trying to create division inside the organization. One commenter said, "It's sad how badly some people want there to be conflict between McVay, Snead, and Ty Simpson, simply because they never liked the pick in the first place." But the reality is this. The Rams are moving forward together. The coaches are invested. The front office is invested. And now the fan base is slowly beginning to rally behind the idea that this young quarterback may have a real future in Los Angeles. Go Rams!